Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're focusing on just one source. It's an article detailing a specific football match, and we're going right into it.
Sounds good. And the match is Manchester City versus Fulham.
Exactly. So the plan is to unpack this report, look at the key moments, the facts presented, and, see what insights we can pull out about the teams and how their seasons wrapped up, really getting into the details provided in the source.
Okay, let's do it.
So, first things first, the result itself. The article states Manchester City won 2-0 against Fulham at Craven Cottage.
Right. And the big takeaway, straight off the bat, according to the report, is what that meant for City. Clinch their spot in next season's Champions League. That was the main thing.
Yeah, absolutely vital for them. The report confirms this win landed them in third place overall with 71 points for the season.
And for Fulham, well, they ended up 11th, the article says, on 54 points. So that chance they had for a top-half finish, it slipped away with this result.
Okay, let's talk goals.
Yeah.
How did they happen according to the report? The first one was Ilkay Gundogan.
Yeah, and the description is pretty emphatic. A superb overhead kick. Timed it perfectly, too, 21st minute.
The source gives a nice picture of it as Matheus Nunes chipped the ball in, Lino pushed it up, and it just sort of looped perfectly for Gundogan to do his thing. Acrobatics.
And, as you'd expect, the report mentions VAR had a look. But yeah, the goal stood. No issues there.
Then the second goal, the one that really sealed it, Erling Haaland from the penalty spot.
Right, and the penalty came about because Gundogan was involved again, got caught by Sasa Lukic inside the area.
VAR check again, the report notes?
Yep, VAR confirmed the decision, standard procedure these days.
No, Haaland steps up.
He does. Confident finish, sent Lino the wrong way. That was with about 18 minutes left on the clock, making it 2-0. Game pretty much over at that point.
Now, thinking about the game's flow, the article suggests City were really on top early on, certainly before they got that first goal.
Yeah. They were, yeah. But Fulham, they didn't just roll over. The report points out they definitely pushed to get back into it after going behind. Harry Wilson apparently came closest for them.
Right, the article lists a few Fulham chances.
Yeah.
Ederson had to deal with a bending shot from Wilson. There was that moment, quite unlucky really, where Tom Kearney hit a volley but was blocked by his own guy, Raul Jimenez.
Yeah, you don't see that too often.
Wilson also had another low shot saved before the break, and Andreas Pereira apparently found the side netting with one effort. So they had their moments.
City still carried a threat, though, even before the penalty. The report mentions Josko Vardiol had a header saved by Leno. Actually, it says Leno saved it with his face.
With his face.
Ouch!
Yeah, bit unusual. And Haaland popped up again, headed one across the goalmouth too, so City weren't just sitting back.
And even late on, still some action. Sander Berge forced a save near the end, stoppage time, according to the report. And Jimenez tried an acrobatic shot that went into the crowd. Oh, and there was that late penalty shout for Fulham, too, mentioned in the report. Kenny Tett flicked it, hit Rúben Dias's arm, but the ref waved it away and VAR agreed. So, a moment of debate, perhaps.
Taking a step back, the article gives some good season context. For Fulham, it notes they'd already got their best ever Premier League points total this season. That's a big positive for Marco Silva's team, even with this loss, meaning no top-half finish.
And specifically about this fixture, the report brings up Fulham's record against City at home. Haven't beaten them there in the league since 2005.
2005, yeah. That stat really highlights just how dominant City have been in this specific head-to-head for a long, long time.
It does. The report also touches on Fulham's reputation for comebacks this season, which, well, didn't happen this time. Wilson mentioned again Kearney, too, with a note that it might have been his last game for them. Adama Traore apparently had their first real opening.
So the analysis seems to be they've got a solid base, and Silva will be looking to push on again next season, maybe another European tilt.
Makes sense. And for City, the report frames this win as a good response, especially after the FA Cup disappointment they'd had. Plus, they'd just beaten Bournemouth, so, Champions League qualification felt like it was in their hands.
Yeah, the article's take on their season is quite interesting. It uses the word underperformed.
Which sounds a bit strange for finishing third, maybe. But compared to their usual standards, winning titles, perhaps that's the perspective. Still, ending on a high by getting that Champions League spot was key.
Definitely. The report mentions Guardiola's halftime talk apparently led to more pressure from City in the second half. It also names Nunez, Gvardiol again, Omar Marmish had a free kick over, Jeremy Doku, a wild shot. Yeah, usual suspects involved.
And looking ahead, the article reminds us City still have the FIFA Club World Cup later in the year, so more potential silverware on the horizon for them.
Right, let's dig into some of the specific stats the article pulls out. That winning streak we mentioned, the source confirms it's now 15 league wins in a row for City against Fulham.
15. And it's not just a long run. The report stresses this is the longest winning run any team has had against another specific opponent in English top 4 league history. Actually beat City's own record against Bournemouth, which was 14. That's dominance.
The longest ever. Wow. Okay, another stat from the report, this one about Guardiola, finishing third. Apparently, this is only the second time in his whole 16-season top-flight managerial career that his teams finished outside the top 2.
Yeah, the only other time being his very first season in the Premier League back in 2016-17. It sort of puts this season in context, doesn't it? For almost anyone else, third is great, but for his record, it's an outlier. Makes you think about City's campaign.
It really does. And one on Gundogan. First league goal since May 2023, but the report points out he's actually scored in every single one of his 8 league seasons with City. Kind of quiet consistency there.
Yeah, steady contributor, even if not a headline grabber this season maybe. But this next stat from the article, this one really caught my eye.
Oh yeah, what is it?
The starting lineups for this Fulham versus Man City game. Neither team had a single English player in their starting
Not English players at all.
None in the starting teams. And the report says this is only the third time that's ever happened in Premier League history.
Only the third time. That's incredible. Does it say when the others were?
It does. Portsmouth versus Arsenal back in December 2009 and Arsenal versus Chelsea in January 2019. So really rare.
Okay, so placing this result in the wider league picture, the article includes the final top standings. Liverpool finished top, champions, 84 points. Arsenal second, 74 points. Then City third with 71, Chelsea fourth on 69, and Newcastle fifth with 66.
And the report specifically mentions that City, Chelsea, and Newcastle all confirmed those top 5 places only on the final day. So quite a bit of drama right at the end of the season for those spots.
Right. And obviously, as the related content pointed out, Liverpool got to lift the trophy, confirming their #1 spot.
So wrapping it up, City got the job done, secured third place, Champions League football sorted with that 2-0 victory, and Fulham finished a respectable 11th, having hit their record points tally.
Yeah, we've gone through the goals, the key moments from the match report, looked at the season context it provided, and pulled out some really fascinating statistics.
Especially that last one, I think. No English starters in either team. It's just the third time ever in the Premier League.
It does make you stop and think, doesn't it?
It really does. What does that tell us? Is it just, the global nature of the Premier League now pulling talent from everywhere? Or does it maybe raise questions about opportunities for homegrown players at the very top level? It's a really striking piece of data from the article worth mulling over.
Absolutely. Something to definitely think about. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the source material.
My pleasure. Always good to talk football.